This John Lothian News video is sponsored by Independence, Expertise, Execution. What are your 3 points? 3 points communications. What is the state of the Dodd-Frank rules?
We're at least 2/3 of the way finished. Most of the important pieces of the framework have been set into place, and we're seeing a lot of those compliance dates kick in. A very important date in March 11th for mandatory clearing. So I think, as these months go on, we'll see the CEF rules being finished, we'll see capital and margin being finished, and then we really have, the foundation and the framework set up for our jurisdiction.
How should the CFTC address position limits?
I was always very concerned that if we imposed position limits and prices did not come down, that the agency would still continue to be blamed. There's been a lot of misinformation out there, and I think that the data does not always reflect what the views of people saying that speculators are driving prices. The data doesn't always back that up. So, I'm hopeful that if we took a look at bona fide hedging and look at how we could define that in a way that encompassed current business practices, that we could probably come up with a rule that's reasonable.
What was the transition like going from principles-based regulation to a rules-based approach?
The principles-based regulatory regime that the CFTC has had for a number of years worked well for us, and I didn't really see much of a reason to move away from that. I think that having more flexibility in the way that our rules are applied is a better way for a regulatory agency to work with the industry, and we haven't done that. I think many of the rules that we have promulgated over the last few years have been very prescriptive, and with the way the market evolves, I think you may end up seeing that with time, those rules will not work.
What is different about the CFTC now compared to 2007?
In 2007, I think we were just the agency that had jurisdiction over the futures industry. And because the futures industry, while there were a lot of success stories there, they weren't front headline news. When you look at the unfortunate incidents that have happened over the past year with MF Global and Peregrine, that has also changed the profile of the industry and of this agency, and much more of a spotlight has been on the agency and how we perform and what we're doing.
What are your concerns about the CFTC budget?
I was very surprised to hear the chairman say last week that we were shelving enforcement cases because we don't have the resources. That's not a decision that the commission as a whole has made. That may be a decision that the chairman made or that the division has made, but I was not aware of that. I think that there are resources that we could direct to enforcement if we ever felt that we didn't have the adequate resources to go after wrongdoing in the market. That's one of our greatest roles as a regulator, is to make sure the markets are free of fraud. It really would concern me if I thought we were walking away from that.
During your tenure, what rule or accomplishment was most important to you?
Certainly the definitional rules, the definition of a swap and definition of a swap dealer were probably two of the most important rules that we have done, because that really laid the groundwork. I wish we would have done those rules first and then went from there. And I also wish that we would have delayed compliance with any of the rules until we were completely finished with the rulemaking. I think it would have been easier on the industry to be able to look at all the rules that they had to comply with and then be able to know how to set up business structures.
When you look at the future of the CFTC, how will it compare to other regulatory agencies?
When I started, there were 450 employees in not only DC, but in our 3 regional offices. We had a budget of approximately $100 million. And over 5 years, we've doubled our budget. Our budget, I think, now is around $200 million. And we have almost 700 employees. It's been incremental increases over the years, but I think we will continue to see that. I think we'll keep up, but I don't think we're ever going to be the SEC. I don't think we're ever going to have a budget of $1 billion and 4,000 employees.
What's next for you after the CFTC?
Well, I don't know at this point, but I'm excited. I think there's a lot of interesting opportunities. This is a great industry, and I hope to stay involved somehow in the issues that I've been working on for the last 15 years.